Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming to our pitch event number 55. So we've done already 50 pitch events, pretty much bringing on the stage, if we can use this terminology, funders from all over the globe. We are bringing funders even from Africa now with our pitch event Impact for Africa, of course from Europe, all America, South and North America, and Asia. So we're very much involved in helping funders, spreading their voice, talking, and very much shouting outside and let to everyone know what they're doing and how they are helping the world to be a better place one day. We do hope. So today we have another three great founders with us: Marco Fazio, Dinis, Cardoso, Alexander Pisemskiy. And I really would like to do not spend too much time talking, if not about them. So let me start with Marco Fazio. How's it going, Marco? And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Max. Doing great, thanks.
So we've been talking before. You are now in Sicily, which is one of my most favorite place. I do love Sicily. But you are headquartered, you live in Netherlands, your company is headquartered in Netherlands. So Marco, you are the CEO of Hypeal, headquartered, of course, in Amsterdam, Netherlands, FinTech. What you're doing is very exciting. I'm very happy to talk about what can be the stock market for startup one day. Pre-seed around 250K in USD. Marco, if you want to give an introduction to yourself, and after we go straight to pitch. Thank you.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much, Max. I'd say, about myself, basically, I worked most of my career in corporate, mostly in e-commerce, working for big companies like Reebok and Adidas, dealing with digital marketing, conversion optimization, and so on. I also launched my own e-commerce, Lito Travel, roughly 2 years ago. And after basically being selected on Forbes 30 under 30 for retail and e-commerce, scaling the brand and getting some partnerships also with Lufthansa in the travel space, and scaling the D2C sales, I sold the first business 2 months ago. So after that, with some experience in crowdfunding, I decided to go all in and launch Hypeal, the stock market of ideas and startups. So basically what we are creating is the go-to place for startups to finance and grow the business together with the community. We believe that the power of the community of the startups is really key for them, for the growth, not only for customers, but also for potential fundraising purposes. So basically the problem that we are solving with Hypeal is that startups do not really know how to launch tokens for fundraising. There's been a lot of hype regarding cryptocurrencies and tokens and coins and so on, but there's not still a lot of knowledge on what possibilities can these technologies, can blockchain do for startups, and how can redistribute ownership, rights, and also funds for the startup itself. So basically right now, startups that want to launch tokens for fundraising, they face a very complex process. There's a lot of regulatory compliance topics. They don't know where to list. Exchanges are very complicated, normally only appealing to Web3 users rather than Web2 community-based startups. And also they have very high listing fees, so it can also go up to 50K plus. On the other side, what they're basically giving up by not being able to issue tokens and just using equity and debt for fundraising is that they're giving up to the possibility to give their community to a tradable instrument, right? So something that can be bought one day and exchanged the next. Something that is not possible to do with shares, is not possible to do with traditional fundraising through VC or with loans. And also they are getting their community more engaged through tokens, right? Imagine if you are getting a customer and you're getting a customer that also owns a token of your company, so with some utility and governance rights of your company. Of course, the latter would be way more engaged in your community. So basically the solution that we're proposing is to create a new crowdfunding platform that allows the instant monetization of startup investments on our own secondary market. The way it works is basically that we issue the tokens on behalf of the startups, and that's where we monetize on the launch fee. That is very similar to what already reward-based crowdfunding does, like Kickstarter or equity crowdfunding, like in Seeders. But on top of that, we don't stop just at launch, right? We organize the trading, we have secondary market with trading fees, And we can also create basically, later in the game, the index of these tokens. So the Hypeal index itself. Something that we are really, aware about is that, of course, cryptocurrencies and issuing tokens can incur into volatility and liquidity issues in small markets. So what we want to create is vesting and safety nets features for the investors in order to basically be protected and also increase the conversion rate of the investments themselves. The good thing is that we can monetize this through fees as well. So really 3 key areas to monetize. And basically, just for a mock-up or a preview, the way it would look like is that we would do a primary issuance of the token where, basically the funds of the startups, the community, the customers, the users would book the tokens at a pre-launch price. And then once we get listed on the secondary market, the trading starts, and then everything is based on supply and demand over time. So the more the community of the startup grows, the higher the trading volume, the higher the price of the tokens, the higher the appreciation of the tokens themselves. Truly, this startup is I'm really excited about it because of the team rather than anything else, the market or the technology, because we are really the perfect team to do this. Myself, I run my own company, went end-to-end to building, scaling it, and selling it through crowdfunding, building a community, and exiting the company. Andrea is a Techstars mentor. He has basically built a 6-figure agency for marketing, for crowdfunding itself. So basically every week there's a new company that he launches on crowdfunding and manages the community and the marketing budget. So that's really great because we get the pipeline of the startups already ready to launch on IPO. And Akshay has been building his own blockchain tools platform for small businesses called Vayak.io. He was the previous CTO of that company, so a perfect addition to the team because he brings in the blockchain experience that we need to build Hypeal. So overall, this team has launched more than 20 products to the market and has more than 800,000 people reach of the community even before the launch itself of the platform. So where do we stand right now? Aside from the community, we already have 30 plus startups that want to bring their communities to Hypeal and launch tokens with us. And this is all organic, right? So we haven't even started to do paid media on this, which really means that there's an early traction in the business itself. We have done LOIs with several companies. And basically we have a pretty big market that we're tackling of 460 billion. BCG says that 10% of the economy will be tokenized by 2030. And a lot of players in the space that have raised more than 150 million. I think the most relevant one is Ferment, that is really looking at the startup communities. So really looking to distribute tokens to the startup communities, but a lot of other players in the space, especially looking at accredited investors. So what we are tackling here is really the tech risk, using existing blockchain, using third party that are already regulated in order to go to market, looking at the new frameworks, the MiCA, the compliance risk, and also the adoption risk, which is the biggest one, getting Web3 startups into Web3, Web2 startups into Web3. And that's really what we think is going to be the engine of growth, is the number of listings of the startups. So we're raising 250K with the 5 million safe from Y Combinator. Already have the first tickets, and we're going to use the money to work through legal, build the MVP, and launch the first 10 startups in our platform. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marco. I mean, this is very something close to me. And let me start with the biggest problem for the stock market, which is liquidity, okay? And the biggest problem for venture capital is liquidity. Venture capital is the less liquid investment you can make, by far the most risky indeed. So in terms of liquidity, how do you address? Because I see, for what is my understanding, the community is going to bring the first stage of liquidity, okay? And the founder themselves bring their community with 100,000 community members come from the 30 startups probably, or something similar. They are ready to go as soon as you go live with MVP. But how do you make sure that you have enough liquidity to trade it, to push the price up?
Right. So there's a few components, and we're basically talking to already existing exchange to see how they're tackling this. But we're also taking a little bit of a new approach in order to do this, right? Because at the end of the day, what we are targeting is startups that have growing communities. So the idea is that we don't just launch the token, have a raise, and that's kind of it. But the startup is incentivized to constantly market the community to the platform over time to increase the monthly trade volume together with his customer base in order to buy more tokens, get more liquidity, and get more funds to grow, basically, at the end of the day. So that's the first layer, right? So kind of creating, if you want to call it, a little bit of addiction of the startup to getting more funds every time they market, they activate their CRM, their email list, basically, of customers and users to buy more tokens on IPO. So that's the first layer. The second layer is really on the market maker side. How are we gonna make sure that basically there's always a buyer and a seller, right, for the tokens, which is the biggest question, I'd say. And what we're seeing that what works is a percentage of buyback, which is normally between 10-50%, so that you always have the startup itself that buys back the tokens in case they're sold. And the other technique that we want to use is token burning. So basically, once a token is sold, it gets out of the supply. And that means that what you would have is, instead of a fixed supply of tokens, is a decreasing supply of tokens. That really helps in stabilizing the prices and avoiding basically pricing to decrease quickly and incentivizing a price increase when token gets bought.
For any investors who is not that used to blockchain, tokens, crypto, and Web3, which is pretty new, although blockchain is there for a while, the mass adoption has not been there yet. But can you just, in a very few words, because I know it's pretty much complex, what is the relationship between equity, known to almost any investors, and tokens, and if tokens can in somehow affect equity?
Yeah, absolutely. So that actually is very flexible. It really depends on the way the smart contract is written in the blockchain. So there's a lot of ways to create a token and a lot of things that you can have as an underlying asset security or certificate of the token. Potentially, it can be also part of equity. So that would be the case of security tokens. And at the end of the day, that means that you're securitizing part of the shares of the company. So that's the underlying asset you have. You have right of dividends as if you're having shares and so on. The problem with tokenizing equity is that you are overlapping the cap table of VCs with the cap table of your tokens. So basically what we want to create is a system where we have different type of issuance depending on the needs of the startup. What we start with is going to be governance tokens, because governance tokens, they're basically certificate of participation of the startup. They're still based and priced based on supply demand. They don't have dividends right, and they're outside of the cap table. So they wouldn't affect the cap table from a VC perspective. So with governance tokens, you can think about having some sort of third way to raise money that is your cap table shares, the loans, so debt, and then the governance of your startup or the certificate of the governance. But in order to really grow Hypeal as a big company, we would have to adapt the type of token issuance based off the type of the business and also the stage of the business, right? So later stage companies might require to really go after securitized tokens for bigger raises of tens and hundreds of millions in order to make sure that everything is compliant with regulations and that VCs are involved as well.
I mean, in terms of reducing the risk of fluctuation, crypto valuation is still extremely volatile. In terms of 10, 20, 30%, which is in investment is something unbelievable. How do you adjust this? How do you make sure? I know that you can't absolutely offset this problem, but how can you somehow reduce this problem?
Yeah, I think it goes a little bit back to liquidity, right? So obviously you want the startup to make sure that they're incentivized to keep the price as well high, right? So when there's something going on, basically to continue market the token itself. What we want to do to avoid, let's say, pump and dump is to kind of create sell limits, so that basically you cannot sell all the token at once, but having daily limits on the trading. I think overall it's going to be impossible to completely edge the volatility. This is kind of part of the game that you have when you're dealing with this type of issuance. And at the end of the day, if you want to say like we're still in a way making it less volatile than normal startup equity, because what you have with normal startup equity investment is that you put as an angel investment 10K, 2K maybe as a crowdfunding investment, and you basically have back zero or way higher of this amount during a liquidity event with a very low percentage amount. So what we're doing here is that we are basically saying, hey, you're still going to face volatility, but you're buying a token today for, let's say, an investment of 1,000 euros, you can get back in 3 months 800 euros or 1,500, depending on how the market goes. So yeah, I don't think we are fixing the volatility problem. That's part of the startup cycle and the way things work. But we're making more efficient the process of entering and exiting a business from a retail investor perspective.
In terms of where you are standing today, when do you believe the MVP will be ready?
So we're starting collecting the first tokens in as booking, so as reservations, not really purchases, in the next 4 weeks, and then we believe that we can launch the MVP through third-party exchanges within 3 months. So as the first primary issuance. The good thing is that we already have in our team the primary issuance platform ready, so the tech is ready. We actually wrote the first contract in the blockchain. So it's just really about making sure that we are aligned with KYC, doing pre-marketing. That kind of you need a little bit of time for the startup community to get ready, basically to be involved. So 3 months is what we need in order to get KYC compliance, pre-marketing, and already have the first startups in the pipeline. So it's pretty exciting.
Do you give any help to the investors that they want to invest that are not knowledge at all on blockchain, crypto, and tokens?
Sorry, say it again.
Do you give any help to the investors that are not knowledge? I mean, let's say small retailers, right, they want to invest some money, but they have no idea even what is a token. How can you tell them, okay, that's the beginning, but at least make sure you know this before?
Right. Yeah, that's great. Right. So that's why we need a little bit of time for the pre-marketing, because it's not going to be that, we have the startup with the community, we launch a token, and we say, hey, buy the token. But it's going to be a 3-month process where you have an actual funnel where you explain over time, what a token is and why you as a user or customer of the startup should be also a holder if you believe in the startup. There's an educational process that go through basically weekly updates on the pre-launch period, which is normally 3 months. And then, what we believe is that after 3 months, which is more or less what happens with Kickstarter as well, right? Not everybody's educated to the fact that you pay for a product that doesn't exist and then it needs to be delivered. So we basically would use the same approach of pre-education of the community of reward-based crowdfunding, but adapt the copy and the messaging for Web3 and tokenization and blockchain.
Do you have an investor in mind in terms of persona that will be part of your cap table?
As a cap table of Hypeal or in a retail investor? As part of the
investing the 250K in your startup.
Sure. So, right now we are talking to basically most of the top accelerators of the world, among Y Combinator, Antler, Techstars. So obviously we have also a team member that is mentoring Techstars. So, that's of course really helpful there. But overall, ideally what we have is either big connection in fintech, so something that can allow us to navigate the legal frameworks, right, of finance itself. And on the other side, it would be good to get maybe as a lead or as a follow-on investor, somebody that's already invested in Web3 project. The thing is that we are really in the middle, because we are talking not about creating a new technology itself. So it's not really a Web3 native investment for an investor, but it's more the betting is on the adoption, right? So bringing Web3 into Web2, so knowledge of both the current fintech status and Web3 from an investor perspective would be ideal.
Marco, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have limited time, but please stay there because we are all back soon with other two founders. And thank you again.
Thank you.
So, I'm moving to Dinis Cardoso, CEO of ScoutDecision, Penedono, Portugal, Sportec, pre-seed around 320K in euros. How's it going, Dinis?
How are you? I'm very well.
Thank you so much for coming. So, if you want to give an introduction to yourself, and after we go straight to pitch.
Yeah. So I'm Dinis. I'm from Portugal. My background is in engineering, in industrial engineering. But I've always had a passion for sport and more specifically football. And yeah, together with um, a few more colleagues from my degree, we decided to jump, take a leap of faith, and develop Scout Decision that I will now start presenting. So, choosing football players well and quickly is fundamental for football teams, and doing so with full confidence is even more important. Football teams, they face decisions like which players should be promoted to the first team, which players should be included in the game squad, and which players should be recruited during the transfer market. But how do they make these decisions? Which data points do they look at? Is it the player with the most shots on target? Is it the player with most passes to like correct passes, accurate passes? The truth is that in a world where data is abundant, football teams still spend absurd amounts of money on players who then don't perform accordingly on the pitch. They don't perform in a competitive environment inside the pitch, and then they don't perform also financially for the club as they don't constitute a positive return on investment made by the clubs. The decision process in football is more similar to a funnel. There are the initial filters that are done by scouts, analysts, the people inside scouting and analysis departments. They filter by age, they filter by position, they define the profile of the player that fits the team the best, and then they give to high-ranking uh, officials in the football clubs and other football entities a group of players that are eligible for transfers and that are ideal for a transfer. And it's here where the problem lies. Here, external pressures, biases harm the decision-making ability of football club administrators, sports directors, and in the end, bad decisions are made. This is particularly concerning given that the number and volume of transfers has been on the increase. In 2022, it constituted more than 20,000. 50% of transfers fail, and 58% of clubs overspend on transfers. What is the solution for this problem? We believe it's Scout Decision. Our cloud platform allows to customize and centralize player information. This includes reports, analysis, scouts evaluations, judgments, notes. And then we want to leverage this information in order to create multi-criteria decision methods and in the future, categorization AI models in order to determine what constitutes a potential successful transfer and a failure in the transfer market. Our current platform, as it is, already is online, already has paid users, and allows to centralize the information, filter players, visualize data, and make better decisions using our multi-criteria decision analysis method. What we want to do is develop our own proprietary artificial intelligence algorithm. In order to do this, we want to collect information from the club's past transfers, help the club categorize what is a successful transfer and an unsuccessful transfer, train the model, define the goal of the evaluation, so establish what profile of player the club wants to purchase, and then with a few clicks, obtain insights on the player's probability of success, how it will adapt to the team, and also potential return on investment on a specific player. The market is huge and it's growing. It's expected that the sports analytics market will surpass 20 billion euros in valuation within 10 years. In 5 years, we expect to be present in 180 clubs. in a market where it is expected to expand to other sports, where scouting is also a common practice in talent identification. Our business model is a traditional software as a service. We charge between 2K and 4K US dollars, and we target mostly football clubs, but also other entities such as scouting agencies, academies, federations. Our go-to-market strategy is simple. We want to start by targeting clubs, small clubs with smaller hierarchies, where establishing an AI model and implementation of new technologies is more simple and more steadfast. And we want to do it in Portugal, Spain, and Brazil, given the geographical proximity and also language proximity. Parallelly, we want to also develop tailored solutions for USA collegiate soccer teams. Our users say that what sets us apart is the unmatched power of customization and aggregation with multiple types and sources of data in order to make the decision. This constitutes a unique workflow that reduces friction when utilizing the software, doing the analysis, doing the scouting, and finally making the final decision. Why is the timing right now? Well, data is on the rise, with even clubs in lower divisions investing in new data collection technologies. The technology is already available, and artificial intelligence is booming. So we want to be at the forefront of its implementation in football, and the market has never been more concentrated. So huge players on the market are acquiring smaller companies, which means that a lot of sales professionals from these acquired companies are now available on the market, and they have great connections in football, so they can get us a foot in the door in said football clubs. We have validation from professionals who not only value the capacity to make better and more informed decisions in our platform, but also to streamline and organize their data management. We expect our LTV to equal our CAC within 1 year, which means that we will break even. And in 2 years, we expect the ratio between LTV and CAC to be 2.5. We are raising 320k euros in order to subscribe to a more granular data API in order to train our models with more efficiency, onboard a new software developer, and onboard 3 more sales representatives with deep connections in football. After finishing our academic research, we developed the first MVP that included the multi-criteria decision analysis, and we are now at a point where we're centralizing enough information in order to develop the first AI models. Our team is constituted by 4 engineers with a background in industrial engineering, sales, and also programming and project management. 2 of us are in charge of software development, and 2 of us are in charge of developing partnerships and business development in general. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present ScoutDecision. I am now open to your questions.
Thank you, Dinis. Which is exactly the pain point that you are addressing here?
So the pain point that we are addressing is exactly the inaccuracy of the decisions made by football clubs in their recruitment strategy. They overspend on transfers. Most of the transfers that they incur in fail to bring a return, both financially and inside the pitch. So, yeah, competition-wise.
But when you talk about the return, I mean, it's very complicated to buy the right player and make sure that there is no injuries, everything goes well, and it's a good year for him. You see, very huge talent play so well, and the year after be so bad. It's endless. The number is absolutely endless. Now, in your case, when you talk about performance, are we talking about financial performance, or are we talking about performance on the field, or something in between?
So we are talking a little bit about both. First of all, the more evident one is, of course, football performance. So performance on the pitch, delivering good performances, playing well, playing according to the team's style and leveraging on the team's playing style, but also financially. So football clubs nowadays are run as businesses, they're run as companies, and it's in the best interest of the football club to profit from acquiring talent, developing talent, and then selling the talent for a higher fee.
Is the case that your platform is good for the small football teams, and because the more they go up, for example, Manchester City, Chelsea, all these big guys, Manchester, Bayern, Munich, and so on, they all make money with advertisement, merchandising. They really don't make money with players because they overpay players 100 millions, and they give them now up to 20, 30 million per year. It doesn't make any sense, right? So in terms of financials, football is by far the worst place to talk about in terms of management, financial management, because absolutely endless the craziness inside in terms of management. Okay, from any CEO perspective, how football clubs are managed is absolutely. I don't want to use something that is not be used in terms of words, but totally wrong, completely and totally wrong. Now, in terms of data, right, you can help also scouting managers. All these kind of people can really benefit from what you're doing, because in the end of the day, normally they use a middleman to buy. Still, the market is in this way. The transfer market, which is up, I believe, is opening now, is made by thousands of middlemen. It's not that this guy is actually your best target as users.
So our targets, our main target and our primary target are exactly the smaller clubs, the clubs that benefit the most from selling talent. They're also the clubs where making decisions on transfers is harder, because the clubs that you mentioned, the Bayern Munichs, the Man Cities, the Real Madrids, they maybe have a handful of players in the entire world that can actually make a change, move the needle in their squad, in their 11. And it's fairly easy to keep track of these players, and they have enough data workforce to keep track of these players and to decide which players are best to buy. The place where we can really make a change is in smaller clubs that have thousands of players worldwide that can benefit their squad, that can better their squad. So those are the ones that need a customized approach to their recruitment and to their decision making in order to have an edge over the competition.
I'm very curious. How do you define the data that you need to provide to these guys?
So we gather. So in our platform, it's possible to import several types of data. It's possible to import tracking data, so GPS coordinates of the player's position throughout the 90 minutes. Players' actions, so categorize each player action as a pass, as a shot on target, expected goals, expected assists. It's all possible to integrate into our platform in order to make the analysis and the decision. It's also possible to import video, even scouts notes and written evaluations on the player's behavior, certain metrics that can't be evaluated quantitatively can be imported in our platform.
Today, which are your market fit in terms of key indicators?
So right now we have 6 paying users between football clubs and individual scouts.
Any investor person in mind that you would like to have in this round?
So the ideal investor would be someone with roots in football, something from the football world, since it's a very relational world, and where having a network inside the sport is very important. It would definitely, the ideal would be to have someone directly related to the sport, either an ex-football player, someone that owns a football club or has connections to a football club, and also in order to run the first, to function as a test bed for our solution.
Dinis, thank you very much. Stay with us, don't go, because we are all back soon.
Thank you.
So moving to our third, last, but of course, and absolutely not the least founder, Alexander Pisemskiy. I do hope I haven't destroyed your surname again, but if I did, I'm very sorry. Excuse me, Alexander. CEO co-founder of ZENPULSAR, London, UK, fintech AI, pre-seed around 1 million in Europe. How's it going, Alexander?
Always great. Hi, Max. Hi, everyone. Great. Thanks for having me today. How are you?
For coming. Please, if you want to give an intro to yourself, and after you can just go.
Sure. Yes, my name is Alexander. I'm an entrepreneur. More than for 20 years, I'm specializing in area of cybersecurity, AI, and forensics. So the first company I founded with my university friends in 2003, and now it's one of the biggest companies in the region, specializing on countering of cyber threats and investigation of cyber crimes. So all my life, professional life, is very dedicated to making the world is more safe and nice place to be, using the technology, which I'm very believe in. And ZENPULSAR is actually has the same attitude to helping to bring a bit more trust in social media space. So in ZENPULSAR, we are working on empowering investors with comprehensive social media data. What is the problem? The problem is the following. So 60% of adults today using social media as the major source of information and news. So that made social media is very powerful tool that can create or destroy wealth and businesses. And every day, financial institutions like hedge funds, investors, banks, regulators need to deal with noisy and very manipulative world of social media to, from one side, trying to generate higher ROIs for their investors, and from another side, not to lose money. So, and actually they struggle to do this successfully and get the proper signals out of it and navigate through the noise and activities which is happening there. So just a few recent examples, which all of you know, is the Silicon Valley Bank, which is crashed within just 48 hours because of social media-driven bank run, and fake image posted, which shown the explosion nearby Pentagon that caused the S&P 500 to drop. So the problem is that it's very difficult today to understand what is authentic and what is not, and to navigate through this tremendous volume of information distributed in social media, which significantly impacts markets, our lives, and businesses. And the problem is, frankly, getting even more challenging, because generative AI, which everyone I'm sure enjoying, so like ChatGPT, Midjourney, and other tools, they are like challenging the integrity even more, because in the hands of manipulative actors, like these tools, making the problem of disinformation and fake news and manipulations even more difficult, because it gets more and more complicated to understand what is authentic and what is not. And this is where actually ZENPULSAR comes in. So we have developed AI platform which is capable to analyze billions of financial sector related news and posts from social media from more than 10 of platforms, covering traditional ones like Twitter, Reddit, and going to more exotic ones like Telegram, Seeking Alpha, Weibo, and other Asian platforms. And our analysis can be done in more than 80 plus languages, and we support different formats like text, audios, videos, images. And in the heart of our solution is the very powerful data-centric AI technology, which was trained using proprietary data sets, which our team built during many years, and which is constantly updated so to stay relevant to the changing dynamics in social media. And this helps us to provide very deep level of analytics using various NLP algorithms, plus be very efficient in noise cancellation and authenticity assessment. So our AI is able to achieve 98% precision in detection of bots. Why it's so important? Because bots generate more than 70% of the noise in social media. That's why it's very important to eradicate this this data out of the equation. And another important thing is that from the day one, we do all this data management, data collection, processing in compliance with all the regulations which cover areas where we operate. So in the end of our AI pipeline, we store all the data in the structured way, cleaned way, enriched way in our data lake, which is the source of information, insights, and data for our customers, like such as hedge funds, traders, asset managers, regulators, analysts, which they get access via either our SaaS platform or directly through a powerful API, which could be customized depending on their needs. So we focus on the financial sector as our primary market, as they consume like more than 80% of alternative data. And we help our customers in solving the most significant business critical problems which they have. So today we cover more than 10,000 assets covering different classes like equities, cryptos, commodities, foreign exchange, and not traded assets as well. So, and we help our customers to generate alpha, so, and increase their ROIs, which everyone expecting from them. We help them to detect impactful news, events, and crisis situations like bank runs and others, which are happening using social media, and be them aware earlier and be able to provide proper actions in regard to their portfolio, and also detect different types of market manipulations, pumps and dumps activities, short squeezes. So you all remember what was happening on crypto markets and what was happening with GameStop and other meme stocks. So these are just few of the examples of use cases which our customers are solving using our data. So speaking about the market, it's really substantial and it's growing dramatically because being really powered with higher demand of high quality data and the democratization of machine learning operations. So more and more companies adopt machine learning and AI for their business decision-making processes, and this creates significant increase in the demand. So there is no dominating player as the social media data provider for financial sector on the market. So that's why we think that we can take the significant share of this market because of solving the most important problems. So first of all is the noise cancellation. So in the beginning of our pipeline, there are billions of posts every day. So the data which comes to our data sets, which our customers using, is less than 100,000. So this is the volume of noise. This is the volume of spam, bot activities, and other non-meaningful or not information not related to the asset, which comes if you're just searching by the keyword. So if you're looking for Apple, so you need to eradicate everything related to Apple as a fruit, Apple as a product like iPhones, iPads, etc. So we need to focus only on those posts which reflect Apple as their stock. So this is significant work which our data scientists and our AI is doing only on a daily basis. And the other important thing is the compliance, which we maintain from the day one, and the most wide in the sector coverage of social media platforms. All the players covering 1-2 platforms, we're covering already 10, and we plan to extend to 20 plus. We are already building our traction with customers and partners like Bloomberg, New Data, DataRate, Snowflake, and we really see how the demand of social media, like high quality social media data, is like growing our pipeline of incoming leads. So we now raising the 1 million euros at 10 million pre-money valuation. So to give more fuel to our sales activities and our product development, because we see that there's significant demand on Asia-focused data, on crypto data, and on stocks like small cap, mid cap, which are much more vulnerable for different manipulations. So come with us and help us to make social media more trustworthy and more reliable source of information for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. Let me ask you, what's the correlation between the data you are providing, cleaned by all these noises made by the social media, and return on investment for, let's say, an hedge fund, whoever is going to use your platform?
Yeah, so we performed the independent research on our data. So it was done by Professor Milan Zdravkovic. And the research results demonstrate that more than 2 times higher ROI if you ingest our social media data to any like various type of strategies. It could be long shorts, naive models, or quant-driven. So sentiment is the trend, very strong trend indicator. So which demonstrates the trend where the price will go in like midterm perspective. That's why it's a very powerful instrument to enrich the information which you consider in taking an investment decision or like ingest into your quant strategies.
But in terms of decision making, right? I'm reading your data, the information you're providing me, but unless everyone are reading your data, maybe someone is making a different decision than mine. And if I go short, technically talking, and they go long, I'm still losing the money. So how does it work? Must your data be used by many to have a real effect on my short and long-term decision?
So like there are different groups of customers of our data. So the biggest ones are hedge funds, which maintain which are biggest investors in the world. And the game which they play is following. So they don't take from us high level, like very sophisticated analytics. So this is more for end users like traders, you and I. So they take the cleaned data, which is very close to the raw data, and then they do the analytics themselves. So that's why, based on like our input, each hedge fund makes their own analytics and make their own like signals out of it and investment decisions. So that's why even using the same data feed by 10 hedge funds, there will be no same like 100% correlation in what they're doing, because this is just a part of the data which they're using in their big pipeline, and they use it uniquely, like they have unique pipelines, each of them.
I mean, in terms of how do you processing the data and cleaning them, okay? Without, of course, giving your receipt to anyone, how does the process work from this side? Because you must digest so much.
Yeah, so there is like very powerful data analytic machine like deployed in the cloud. So we do first of all, we do the collection of the data from multiple sources, and depending on the source, we either do accessing through API or doing for scrapping, so where it's applicable. So then we apply and we do it using applying like keywords which are constantly improved by topic modulation, and then this data gets into our AI pipeline, which first perform the analysis of the text of the data, for instance, of the post, to understand the subject, to understand if it's relevant or not. Then we analyze who is posting. So is it the bot? Is it the average user? Is it the influencer, market analyst, etc.? And then we analyze if there are any links related to particular post. So if there is a link to the news, so like Bloomberg site or Financial Times, and we go and understand what is information is there. So also we do the deep analysis of what is the text about. So for instance, it's very important to know if the post is opinion, if it's like subjective or objective, like so talking about the fact, talking about the personal opinion of the trader, or make the prediction. So we do all these analytics, we do the sector analysis, we do the geographical analysis, etc., and enrich all this information into do the metadata around every post we make. Then we put this in the time series format, which could be easily consumed by any end customer, like ingesting into their data analytic pipeline, and or represent in visually like graphs, and make the easier visual correlation between dynamics in social media, or maybe like activity of sentiment of influencers, of market analysts in a particular period of time, in a particular even social media platform, and how it impacts the dynamic of the price, and even like spot those discussions which have the effect on this.
Who are your clients today?
So today we have clients from like different financial sectors. So they are traders, commodity traders, crypto traders, hedge funds, like both traditional and crypto. We also working with several fintech investment platforms to ingest our data, either as a part of for creating them the investment products for their users, or represents our indicators and signals as a part of the interface. So for instance, demonstrating what are the top 10 most bullish stocks by market analysts for today, what is the dynamic of what is the dynamics of changing like the sentiment, because if there is a significant change, that means that something is happening, and you need to either consider to add this stock into your portfolio or sell it. So these are indicators which we can implement to trading apps for crypto or for like equities.
Do you have any investor persona in mind that you would like to have today?
So among our investors, there are financial market professionals, so angel investors who are from hedge funds and trading industry. So there are several VCs which have significant focus on the fintech and AI. So I think that we'd like to see either experienced angel who can help us in getting further to a hedge fund industry, and helping us to develop the products and open the doors for that sector. Or like VC with a strong angle on the US and Asia, where we see the biggest markets for us are. So we see a lot of traction and interest from Singapore, from Hong Kong during past 3 months. And this is where this was a trigger why we created even special products on the Asian stocks and Asian social media platforms, which provide enormous results in terms of Sharpe ratio and alpha potential. So yeah, we are. So this is.
You can saturate your platform with Hong Kong, Singapore, London, and New York. You don't need anything else. That's where all the money are traded.
Exactly.
Stay there, please. Don't go, because we are bringing now the other two founders. And as we always close our pitch event, we like to close in this way. Let's wait for Marco and Opsla. I say. So we will wait for Marco and Dinis. Okay, Marco Dinis has some problem with the connection. So let me close with you. I think we lost both of them, but again, no problem at all. Now, in terms of, we always close in this way. Today we do this with you because we lost the last two guys. And let me ask you, first of all, what is your passion? What motivates you? Why you're doing this? And secondly, why investors should invest in your startup?
As I said, like last 20 years, I was doing the business, like developing different businesses, which are focused on helping the world be a better place. So fighting cybercrime, fighting economic crime, like improving the security of information systems and recovering of assets. So this is something that I think that I am, as an entrepreneur, as a person, can bring back to the world. So like help to reduce the risks and fight for good against the bad. And this is about my motivation. And speaking about why investors should invest in ZENPULSAR. So I think that it's pretty simple. So social media, like as a space, growing with like very fast pace, and the more than 60% of further growth of the number of users will come to Asia, Africa, and Latam areas. So today people spend like around 3.5 hours in average daily in social media. And there is the way how people consume the information, and that's why it's very important what they like consuming. If they're manipulated, and how you can navigate through all of these volumes of this data. And we have developed the solution which really distills everything what's happening in social media to the customer needs in financial industry. So giving access to reliable, high quality, noiseless data on the industrial level. So through APIs, which could be customizable and integrated to any workflow. So the consumption of data will grow, the demand will grow. So we are ahead of many of other competitors because we have in our DNA cybersecurity in the past. So, and this is area where you're always on the edge, on the front line of technologies of fighting with criminals who use all the technologies to get access to your money, to get some financial benefit. And we adopt this knowledge, we adopt this skill set, we adopt expertise, which got their data sets to the area which helps to secure the financial industries, to secure secure investments of many people. And it will be further increase in adoption of retail investments, which was huge during the COVID. Now Asia, so China market is hugely, mostly driven by retail investors. And this will continue to grow because Africa, because Asia and Latam is not there yet. So that's why it's the great opportunity to jump with us in this to catch this wave in the beginning and ride it along using the amazing technology which our team has developed, and which is already operational and already on the market.
Alexander, I really thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have problem with the connection with Dini and Marco, but I really wish you all the best, as I wish to all the other two founders. Thank you so much for taking part in our pitch event. And anyone who wants to get in touch with you, the other founder can get in touch with us, but they also have all the information that can come in touch with you. Thank you so much to all our audience watching us today. And we are back again on Thursday, 5 p.m. UK time, with another great founders coming to pitch day. Unbelievable deal. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Max.